this Nick Merks the LGBTQ controversy that was happening. This was a big story, and I was interested in it just because I don't think people understand at all what's going on here. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar, I guess this guy Nick Merks, he is a FaZe Clan member.
He's up.
Of course. In the words of Asmongold, a bunch of crackheads, which is apt.
FaZe? That's fucked up.
Nick is a Twitch streamer, a YouTuber, and owner of FaZe Clan who plays Fortnite and Warzone. On June 7th, Nick Merks published a tweet in response to a video of a massive brawl taking place outside of a school in Glendale, California. Shout out Los Angeles.
Shout out LA.
The fight was reportedly sparked by a school board meeting discussing the recognition of Pride Month on campus, which was approved by unanimous decision later that day. And this turned into like a big culture war thing. And then he said, in response to, I guess, a fucking riot, dude, you want to bet that all these psycho MAGA dudes they don't even live here. They don't live here.
I mean, plenty of the people at the protest did, but the instigators and the people leading it, are like professional provocateurs.
They're here from Orange County.
As we'll see.
So, this happened 4 blocks from my Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people live and love and live their own life. And here you can see there's it's pretty violent. Anti-LGBT protesters attack pro-LGBT demonstrators outside of Glendale, California school board meeting, where they recognize June as Pride Month. Now, what level of school? Is this a high school? Is this a middle? Is it an elementary school? What are we talking about?
The meeting was like the board, so it's
the whole district.
The district. Yeah.
Okay. So here is the footage. Like this is, come on now. This is stupid. This is just sad. And I'm telling you, dude, I know who started this shit. Maybe I'm making this assumption, but I don't think it was the Protect Trans Kids guy who started throwing punches. I don't. I just don't.
I'm telling you.
And then here's their shirts. The one starting the fight, their shirt says, "Leave our kids alone." That's how this whole thing is being framed. Leave our kids alone. By recognizing Pride Month, okay? So Nick Merks says they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. And it got 83,000 likes. People were like, yeah, leave the kids alone. Now, I'm going to explain the problem with this statement and the reason why.
Who could disagree with leave kids alone?
Exactly. On its face, it's like, yeah, leave the kids alone.
Yeah. Pink Floyd said it first.
Damn, you're right. I didn't even think about it like that. So the Glendale School District put out a fact sheet of what they are trying to teach. They have the key points they're trying to discuss. I'll get to that. But Nick Merks, essentially, after this tweet, his skins, or I guess he has some kind of bundle or something in the Modern Warfare 2. So they put out a statement. Due to the recent events, we have removed Nick Merks' operator bundle from Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone store. Activision confirmed on June 8th. Now, I'll say, here they go. I guess these people announced it first, and they said, yeah, we deleted that shit. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll say this. Oh, here's Gays Against Groomers, and that's Ollie London's fucking...
Ollie London.
Of course he's here. All the man said was leave kids alone. We agree.
Right.
So we got to ask, what's on the hard drive of whoever was behind these decisions? Bitch, what's on your hard drive, Ollie London, you freak? Fuck you. What's on the hard drive? Please, bro. Again.
Murder porn.
If you go talk to the murder porn guy. Go talk to the local pastor. It's about time we send the pastors out to pasture. I got to say my pun game since becoming a dad is really elevated. It really has. This is something every single person should agree with. You are vile, and we hope this bankrupts you. Of course, everybody agrees, but that's not the fucking problem. The problem is the framing of it. Okay? Dumbass. These guys are such jokes. Who's actually following this account? Golly.
Only London.
They're
Only London does.
Only London. Only London.
Peaky Blinders.
Murder porn.
Okay, so this caused an up. Now, I'll say, maybe it was a little bit of an overreaction. I mean, the guy's an idiot. I think he's an ignoramus.
He responded a day after all the backlash and was like, I stand by what I said. I'm sorry.
He doubled down on it. And also the timing, you know, this is during all of these companies' big. It's Pride Month. It's Pride Month. You can't do that on Pride Month.
I mean,
would they have dropped the skin if it didn't happen in June? I'm gonna go ahead and guess that they probably wouldn't give a shit.
There may have been people inside the company who were like, "Yo, fuck this," and you know
It
they
was
care.
in June this year.
They care about their employees, and they're like, "Okay," but they're within their right, because at the end of the day, I agree that even though it doesn't seem like it. It is a homophobic and a transphobic comment. And the problem is, I know this guy doesn't see himself as being hateful, and that's where a lot of these disconnects come from.
He is a Ron DeSantis supporter, by the way. Not even MAGA. Ron DeSantis, he thinks, is the GOAT, which is so fucking funny to me. Like, the dude that thinks Ron DeSantis...
White Boots? Ron White Boots
Ron
DeSantis?
White Boots DeSantis is this guy's GOAT.
His feet look like goat feet.
Which really tells you a lot.
Well, regardless, I'm sure that this guy, when he looks at himself in the mirror, he doesn't see a person who's like, I hate gay people, I hate trans people. He thinks he's a reasonable guy. And he knows, I don't hate people. And this is where the problem is. A lot of people have a hard time looking at themselves and saying, what this opinion is doing, the result of this is ignorant, and it's creating hate in the world. I've had that realization with myself. You know, it's not easy to see that because we don't, that's not how we feel when we look in the mirror. We all think, hey, we're decent people. We do our best to be nice, be good humans. But it's important to be critical about how we're interacting with things. So here he is. He says, by the way, it is interesting too, of a bunch of like protesters getting the shit beat out of them by like MAGA freaks. They should leave the kids alone. That's the real issue. Okay. So look back to the doc here. Let's take a look first at the fact sheet that Glendale School District put out.
So they put this out in response to the fact that in all of these like psycho parent groups that were getting all upset, a bunch of memes and false information about what was being taught at the school was going around. So they just wanted to clarify, this is actually what we're talking about when we're having this discussion.
So here's the key points. Glendale School District has a process for selecting your curriculum and instructional materials. We intentionally include diverse voices and lessons in our curriculum, supplemental materials, yada, 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 to understand diversity of peers. Elementary curriculum related to diversity, including LGBT plus issues, is focused on highlighting all different types of families. Elementary curriculum does not include specific information about gender or LGBT or gender identity.
Just basically saying some people have two dads.
Which
that's normal.
I guarantee you there are people at that school that have gay parents.
I'm gay. Actually, I'm not.
And there's also people at these schools who are questioning their own sexuality and their own gender identity.
Amazing.
So administrators and teachers are trusted to use professional judgment when deciding if a particular topic is suitable. Yada, yada, yada. Key points. Grade 5, development and maturation. Focuses on body changes that occur during puberty. Boys and girls are separated into two different rooms and shown a 16 to 20-minute video, typically by the school nurse. Some schools provide a video link to parents to show at home in lieu of watching the video at school. Grade 7 and 9.
So that literally, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't go to the Glendale School District. I went to LAUSD. But that policy has existed at least since I was in the 5th grade because I had that class in 5th grade. I remember that, the first like sex ed class in 5th grade.
I was in 5th grade in Michigan and I watched
my
first
so this
sex
is
ed.
literally just standard fucking shit.
Amazing.
But I don't know if that's the part they're protesting. They say grade 7 and 9 sex
Well, now
education
they're
instructions.
This is grooming to them now.
Is that what they're saying? I know they're just
Well,
they don't like them.
And the fact that they acknowledge that gay people exist, that's grooming too. I mean, the reality is they're getting mad about things that aren't really happening, and that's why I think it's useful to look at this and see what this conversation is actually about. Because I would really invite Nick Merks or whatever to read through this and specifically say what the problem is.
Well, okay, so let's see. Gender identity and pronouns. This is the new stuff that wasn't there when I was in school. This is probably something they have a problem with, these protesters. Glendale School District policies follow the law and require the signature of parents or guardians before a official school record is changed. Since 2013, state laws mandated that students have a right to ask to be referred by a name or pronoun that might be different than what's on their official record. A school may not question the student's asserted gender identity. Disclosing a student is transgender without the student's permission may violate California anti-discrimination law. A school must protect children from being teased for failing to conform to sex stereotypes, including being deliberately referred to by the name and or pronouns associated with the student's assigned sex birth. I mean, this is clearly designed to protect students. I don't see what could possibly be bad about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so this is what they're freaking out about.
Well, the last part is probably something they're freaking out about too. It's the locker room stuff and like bathrooms and everything, which obviously is a big thing. But if you actually read what they say, I think it's completely fucking reasonable.
California law requires that students shall have access to restrooms and locker rooms that correspond to their gender identity. All Glendale School District locker rooms are equipped with private changing facilities for any student who wishes to use them. No student is ever forced to disrobe or change clothes in front of any other students. Great. Private room.
Again, it's like if anybody actually just looked at what the conversation actually was. I mean, obviously some people would still have a problem with it, but when it's just this vague, oh, they're grooming these kids. And it's like, just look at what we're actually talking about here. No, like, who has a problem with this?
Mm-hmm. So here's what I'll say. This is why I think these kinds of statements are fucked up. They should leave the children alone. That's the real issue. There's a context there that is implying that they are coming for children. Who's coming for children? Gay advocates, trans people,
just gay
LGBT.
People in general?
They're coming for children. It's part of an agenda of them to force some ideology on them. Now, what this narrative does is it's like the front door of homophobia and transphobia. This is like the gateway. Once you're willing to accept this premise that there is a group of people who are trying to push their ideas onto children, then you're willing to believe almost anything at that point about trans people and gay people, that they're groomers, that they're all pedophiles. You hear that? It's outrageous. And so this claim that they should leave children alone, it's directly going to cause a ton of transphobia and homophobia. Now, here's where this becomes so silly. Now, they're saying June is Pride Month. They're recognizing that in the school district. There's a Black History Month that schools recognize. Is that indoctrinating? Do we need to leave the children alone when it comes to Black History Month?
Well, a lot of these people probably would say yes to that too, because that's critical race theory. That's woke.
There would be a lot less people who would be comfortable saying that.
For sure. But you're right to draw the parallel there.
And then I think what they would say is, well, Black history doesn't have anything to do with sexualization. And I would say neither does Pride Month. It is about a marginalized group that historically has been through a whole bunch of fucking shit. And it's about recognizing them and normalizing it in the sense that they're not looked as outsiders or weirdos or freaks, so that 30 to 50% of trans kids aren't attempting to commit suicide, because that is definitely the societal pressure that makes them feel like freaks. And so there's a lot, like this argument could be extended to a lot of things. They should leave the children alone. I mean, you can make that argument about almost anything in the curriculum. There's no consistency about it. The truth is that they just don't like gay people. They don't like trans people. And this is how it's manifested, even if they're aware of it or if they're not. This is the result of this. Because, that's what school is. What do you mean, leave the children alone? What do you want them to do?
It's all indoctrination,
yeah.
right? We don't have any problem indoctrinating them into like American history or, ideology, capitalism.
That's school. We trust our educators. Listen, education, it's well established discipline. People study it. They get master's degrees in it. We trust the professionals to educate our kids. So when you say leave the little kids alone, you're saying essentially, if you work it out all the way, you want them to just go sit there and stare at the wall, because everything they teaching them is from some kind of fucking perspective. So what does it mean, leave the children alone? What does it mean ultimately at the end of the day?
Also, I think we skipped down the fact sheet before we got to the specific point, but the one part that like somebody that, is very socially conservative would maybe take issue with is those conversations are for me to have with my kid, not to be taught by a teacher. Well, but listen, it says in the policy, and I remember this being the case too, when we had the sex ed class or whatever, I had to get permission from my parents, and they say in the thing.
Me too. But again,
so you can opt out. You don't have to have them in that class.
Listen, even that is homophobic and transphobic, because learning about LGBTQ rights isn't sexual. It's the same as any other marginalized groups. Same about hearing about Native American discrimination and genocide. It's same as learning about African American history. It's the same about learning about Chinese people who are second-class citizens. It's the same about Japanese people who put in internment camp. Are all these indoctrinating? The only reason you're singling this one out is because you're homophobic and you're transphobic. That is the only reason. That's it. And so it seems like an innocent statement. And you might look at that on face value and say, yeah, of course, that's so obvious. Leave the children alone. That's so obvious. Who would have disagreed with that? But the truth is, it's fucked up. It's super fucked up. And it's a gateway, and it's it's lightly veiled, maybe heavily veiled homophobia, transphobia, because on the face, it looks reasonable. But when you analyze it, it has no merit, none at all. It's silly bullshit.